All right, this video is going to go over 12.3, solving radicals. So let's go ahead and get started. Basically, you're going to see like root equals something, and you want to cancel this root. So square both sides. When you square both sides, this root and the square cancel, and it just drops 3x plus 4. Over here, 4 squared is 16. Then you just solve the equation. Subtract 4, divide by 3. Nothing to it. All right, so like this one. Well, let's go ahead and do number 4 because it's so easy. Square both sides. Subtract 3. Same thing with number 3. Let's go ahead and do that one as well. Square both sides. Divide by 3. All right, which brings us to, let's do number 5 next. If the root is not by itself over here, like notice there's a -7 that's not in the root. You've got to move that first by adding 7. So it's really like root 2x plus 3 equals 7. Then you can square both sides. Then subtract 3. Then divide by 2. My screen froze. Hold on. Okay, I think I'm back. So subtract 3, divide by 2. So those aren't so bad. Now, it's questions like number 2 that are going to give you trouble because you square both sides. But then you have x squared here. Now, when you have an x squared and you're trying to solve it, generally you want to make it equal to 0. So like I'm going to move everything to one side and rewrite it. So I had x squared, I had a -2x and a -35 equal to 0. And the reason you want to do that is because now you can factor it. And the reason you want to factor it is because now you can just set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So like this first one, add 7. Second one, subtract 5. That's how you do those. Now, if it doesn't factor, that's a different situation, but I don't know if there's any of those yet. We'll see. Okay, number 6, your goal is to isolate this root right here. So to do that, first you need to subtract this 3. So you got 3 root x equals 12. Now this is not a cube root. This is a 3 out in front 3 times. So this root is not isolated yet. So you have to divide by 3 next. So you'll end up with root x equals 4. Then you can square both sides and get your answer. So like, look at number 9. It's a little more basic. You have to add the 2 first. Then you can square it. Now you can solve. So subtract 6. Divide by -3. All right. Okay, now we get to like 7 and 8. These are more quadratic ones. So the root's isolated on 7, so you can go ahead and square both sides. So it becomes 10x plus 8 on the left side. Now on the right side, the 5 gets the square as well. So it becomes 25x squared. It's like 5x squared. All right, so you got, and then move everything to one side. You need to make it equal to 0. So like I'm going to subtract 10x, subtract 8. So it's going to end up being 25x squared minus 10x minus 8 equals 0. Okay, now from here, this one happens to factor. So you factor it, then you just set each factor equal to 0. And you solve. So like add 4, divide by 5. Same thing on the subtract 2, divide by 5. Just like that. Okay, moving right along. This next one, you're going to square both sides. Now, when you square this right side, it's like this. So it's really like a binomial. You have to run FOIL here. So if you run FOIL, you'll get x squared minus 4x plus 16. Well, that's x squared minus 8x plus 16. All right, now you want to make everything equal to 0, so move this 2x. So really you have x squared minus 10x plus 16 equals to 0. Now this one factors as well. It's x minus 8, x minus 2. Set those equal to 0 and solve, and you get x equals 8, x equals 2. Okay. Now look at number 10. That 2 is out in front. It's blocking you from squaring this immediately. You have to divide by 2 first. So now you got root x plus 4 equals 7. Now you can square it and solve. Okay. Now we get to number 11. Now number 11 has a power of 1/3. What you need to realize is this is a cube root of x minus 9. So we canceled square roots by squaring it. Therefore, we cancel cube roots by cubing it. So like this one, the cube root and the cube drop away and it just drops to x minus 9, just like before. Except on this right side, it's 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. Now you can add 9 and solve. Okay, now this next one, they're just giving you an x squared right off the bat. So you need to cancel the square this time by square rooting. And when you square root something, you need a plus minus. And the square root of 196 is 14. You need a plus minus because like if you had negative 14 and you squared it, you'd still get back to your 196. All right, this next one, cancel the cube root by cubing. So it drops 4x plus 3. 3 cubed is 27. Now you can subtract 3 and divide by 4. Nothing to it. Okay, 14. You add 1 first. Your root is not isolated. There's a minus 1 and there's a 4. So take care of the minus 1 first. Now you can divide by the 4. Then you can square it. X is 1. Okay, now there's a 4th root. Okay, well, it's the same thing. You cancel a cube root with a cube. Well, you cancel a 4th root with a 4. So it's like this. It drops the 10x plus 11. 3 to the 4 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 81. Now you can subtract 11 and divide by 10. Okay, this next one's real easy. Just square both sides. Drop the x plus 2. Now it equals 9. Subtract 2. This next one. Let's save that one for last. So this number 18, you would subtract 5. All right, so you got root x equals negative 4. Okay, now you would square it. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Just like that. Now, the reason you're going to get this one wrong is because if you plug in 16 into this, you get 4. Root of 16 is 4, plus the 5 is 9. So this one doesn't work. You kind of have to just like check them every now and then, especially if they're negatives. So like now I'm kind of paranoid. I'm looking back over my answers. I don't think I see any others like that. But if you end up with like this right here was a red flag for me that something fishy might be going on. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, now let's look at 17. 17, you're going to subtract the 6. So you're going to end up with root 8x equals x minus 6. Now you're going to square both sides. Well, when you square this right side, it's FOIL. So you got 8x equals, if you FOIL that out, you get x squared minus 12x plus 36. Now you can subtract your 8x to make it equal to 0. Okay, and then this one factors as well, x minus 18, x minus 2. So set those equal to 0, you get x equals 18, x equals 2. All right, so that's how you solve some basic, these are basic, radical equations. Isolate your root and then cancel it and then just go solve. Hope this video helped.